Today on the Travel Magazine, join us as we travel 3 of America's Great Plains states on the trail of dinosaurs. But first, to County Fermanagh in Northern Ireland. Located in the southwest corner of Northern Ireland, Fermanagh County offers the charm of Europe with its stately homes nestled between the rivers and lakes. Hi, I'm Jake de Boer.
And I am Mieke de Boer, and welcome to this edition of the Travel Magazine.
Join us today for a cruise on Lough Erne, tour the town of Enniskillen, and visit the world-famous Beleg pottery. The expression, "Home is where the heart is," describes the experience of a visit to Fermanagh County with its green countryside and the warm hospitality of its people. Tanya, tell me about Fermanagh County. Why should people come here?
Well, people should come here because it is a beautiful county. There's lots of things for tourists to do, there's lots of things for locals to do. The unique thing about Fermanagh is that it's a lakeland county. It's a lakeland paradise. The county town of Enniskillen is actually built on an island, and it's surrounded by water, the water being upper and lower Lough Erne, and it's really a mecca, especially for people coming on cruising holidays. And we get a lot of continental people coming on cruising holidays, people that love to fish, people that love water sports. And the good thing about it as well is that if you're on a cruising holiday, there's so many of the tourist attractions are accessible. You can pull up at the jetty, you can go for a walk. I think that's exciting for people, the fact that you don't need a car to come and tour Fermanagh.
So I'm really excited to go on this trip.
Yes, if you just step onto the boat there, I'll cast off at the bow.
Okay, Mieke, I'll help
we'll
you to
start
get
up.
on board.
Whoops.
Okay. I think I'll enjoy this. Will you?
I will enjoy this definitely. And this is, do you see how comfortable this boat is?
Oh. Is it ever?
So now don't let me go by myself. So you better.
Start the engine. You'll know how to do it.
Okay.
Huh?
That's
I
it.
will just start up the engine.
Okay. Full speed ahead, Captain.
Full speed ahead then. Aye, aye, sir.
So Eddie, where are we going first?
Well, we're going to Devonish Island, Mieke, so if you just fasten your seatbelts.
Great.
Look at this, how beautiful it is over there.
I see a lot of people fishing. What do you catch here?
Most of the fishing that happens here is coarse fish. That's you know, pike or bream or roach. Although this part of the lake is a good game fishing area as well.
How about salmon fishing?
The odd salmon, occasional salmon, mostly trout.
You catch some smoke out of the water, do you?
Not quite.
Oh, not quite.
and they don't really jump out and into your
Oh, don't they?
yet, but
Because that's my favorite.
that would be too easy though.
Yes, you're right. Well, I'll take usually when we're fishing whatever I can get.
Oh well, that's probably
That's
a
how
good
I
idea.
ended up with Mieke. You see, I was fishing, and this is what I caught.
It's quite a good
Yeah.
catch then.
It was a good catch, no doubt about it. But you know, this is really quite something for tourists, and when they come here, that they can rent a boat like this
Yes,
and really
they-
go out for a weekend, a week, 3 days, 2 days, whatever.
That's right.
Well, is it the wind that brings these waves on?
Yes, it is. This is what's called, this is the Broad Lough. It's the wider part of Lough Erne. So as you can see, even on a reasonably calm day on the shore, you still got quite good
yeah.
waves.
Just a beautiful part of the island.
Yes, it
Oh,
is.
look there. There it is.
Yeah,
That's
coming up
Devonish.
now.
Coming up. So this is the island.
This is Devonish Island. It's an ancient monastic site. There would have been something here from early Christian times, but the tower, I think, is built around the 12th century. This place was very active in early Christian times, because the only way really of travelling was by the water, and the monks would have entertained visitors and people who were on pilgrimages to other parts of Ireland as well.
So tell me now, this island is actually called Oxen Island.
Yes, Dave Inish is really the Irish name for the island, and it means the island of the oxen.
Of the oxen. I looked at the map of Ireland and I see a lot of names starting Innis.
That's right, that's right.
Why?
Well, Inish is the Irish for island, so a lot of the place names that you would see begin with Inish or Innis, and that means that they were islands at one time, or they still are islands.
A lot of islands.
Well, I think it's time to go back to the boat
Good.
and on to Enniskillen.
Let's do that. I'm
Okay.
ready for it.
A cruise on Lough Erne or any of Fermanagh's waterways is a great way to take in the many sights and attractions. Learning to operate one of these cruises and navigate the Erne waterway is not a difficult task. Even a confirmed landlubber can quickly become a ship's master here. We'll be back with more of the Travel Magazine as soon as we're out of the locks, so stay with us.
Oh, look at that. Look,
Wow.
this is a school.
This is a whole school. That is really something.
Yeah. And look at it. They're going to put us in the water and they're going to take off.
Towards the end of our journey south, on Lower Lough Erne, seeing the Portora School rowing team reminded us that the brilliant Irish playwright Oscar Wilde attended classes here. Perhaps the scholars were out to learn the importance of being earnest. Town of Enniskillen, what does the name mean? How did it get its name?
Well, it comes from the Irish Inish Kathleen, and there's quite a funny story, and again you can take it with a pinch of salt whether it's true or not. But apparently Kathleen was the wife of an ancient Irish warrior called Balor of the Mighty Blows, and apparently during one of the most fiercest of battles she was killed, and where she lay was where her husband decided to bury her. So hence the name, the island of Kathleen, Inish Kathleen and Enniskillen. But so it's a nice story, but I think people should remember that yes, it's a story. Well, I would say come to Fermanagh because it's a beautiful tourist destination. We've got the lakes, we've got the countryside. It really is gorgeous. It's a place where you can come and get away from it all. It's peaceful, it's tranquil. Yet if you want to do lots of things, you can do lots of things. You can visit the museums and visit the castles, and you can go fishing and cruising, and you've got your water sports. It's really a holiday for all the family.
Enniskillen's former butter market, dating back to 1835, has been restored and transformed into a craft and design center. You can shop for local handicrafts or simply enjoy a moment with one of the expert designers or craftspeople. There are fine shops along Enniskillen's Main Street, which changes its name 6 times as it runs the length of the town. One of the joys of discovering Northern Ireland is driving through the ever-changing landscape. On the way to Ballyke, we came upon several historic mansions in County Fermanagh.
We're very proud of our history and heritage in Enniskillen. Castlecool is situated just on the outskirts of town. It's a stately home which is owned by the National Trust. You can get a guided tour of the house, and It really is a beautiful place to visit.
The drawing room would have been used for conversazione, gatherings of people to talk over things, and then they would have passed through the saloon to go and dine in the dining room, a great piece of architecture of Wyatt, and then back into the saloon for dancing and music.
Just down the road from Castle Cool is the delicate pottery of Ballick, known throughout the world for its fine Irish craftsmanship.
What is the history of this place?
Well, the pottery was actually founded in 1857, and the reason that the pottery is here is because deposits of the feldspar and kaolin were originally found on site, so the factory was actually purpose-built. Our porcelain is actually a cream in colour. A lot of the porcelains tend to be bone china, which is very white, so Ballick is very translucent, and Parian does mean translucent and marble-like.
So you can look a little bit through it.
That's right, if you hold it up to the light you can see through it.
Is there a lot of tourists that come?
Well, there was always tourists to Ballick, but we then built a visitor centre here in 1989, and we went from 14,000 visitors in 1988 to 35,000 in the first year. And last year our visitor numbers were up at 148,000.
And you take them through the whole process?
Yes, they get to see the whole process from start to finish, from the actual making to the painting. And they have a chance to interact with the craftspeople as well.
My father worked here for 53 years and he was about to retire. So in 1978 I started with Ballick and my father trained me into the job. Now in 1982 he retired after 53 years service. My grandfather, he also worked here in the late 1800s. So my grandfather and my father are now in the third generation of boys working in Ballick pottery.
There's lots of reasons, Jake, why Terminal 4 is very special to us, British Airways. Everything's on one level. If you're a departing passenger, you don't have to worry about lifts. Once those passengers have checked in order to give them a speedy passage through, we opened a fast track to go through immigration and security to clear those formalities as quickly as possible for those premium brand customers.
In your arrivals area, you have a whole lounge for especially people that are traveling on business and so on. Tell me about your arrivals area.
People arriving here fall into two categories. They're either arriving here to terminate their journey, or they're arriving here to make a connection onto another flight. We have about 50 million passengers a year going through to Heathrow. About 1 in 3 of those 50 million passengers they're flying in by air specifically to fly out again to another destination. They can either have a very hassle-free journey through there if they have a quick connection and it's a large spacious area, or if they have a bit longer to wait, they can have a snooze. We have snoozer seats.
Yes.
They can have their suits pressed, they can have showers. Did you know we use 130,000 towels a year in our shower facilities here? We have the Executive Club Lounge for our executive card holders and a Club World Lounge for the Club World passengers. And here we are.
British Airways Lounge Pavilion.
Hello, Mika.
Mika. And you know what I think? I think Mika has been shopping. The Great Plains states are known not only for their incredible natural landmarks, but also for the archaeological treasures that are being excavated throughout the region. Our first stop is the Mammoth site in Hot Springs, South Dakota.
The Mammoth site is located right in the city limits of Hot Springs, South Dakota, in the southern Black Hills, which is on the western end of South Dakota, and it's unique in that there's no other place that we know of where this natural trap occurred, water occurrence like this with this many mammals. And so there's a lot of information here for researchers to uncover and display for the visitors coming through.
When the dig is here, the people that work here get to spend some time digging, so we know what it's like, so we can explain it to you.
The Mammoth site is a paleontological site museum, a working actual paleontological site. And what we have here is about a accumulation of 300 to 700 years of deposits of fossils. They came into the sinkhole, were trapped, couldn't get out the steep, slippery sides, died, and their bones deposited in the bottom. Sediment filled up, preserved the bones, and we're working our way down little by little through the fossil layers and getting down to the fossils and finding full skeletons. We're up to 51 mammoths based on tusk count and 28 other species of animals at the site.
What do you guys got over here? We've got a big one coming up. Okay. Probably need to take it out a little bit more yet before we can decide for sure what we have. And use your scooper, use your whisk brooms to get that extra soil out of your work area. These are animal bones. Can you guys tell me what science we're studying if we're just studying old animal bones? Yeah, paleontology.
The Mammoth site is unique, and we try to create a lot of different things for visitors to come through. We have a lot of hands-on exhibits, little sandbox dig for little kids. Visitors to the site, when they come during the actual dig, which is normally in July, they can see the actual paleontologists and the Earthwatch volunteers removing the sediment, uncovering the bones, and showing to the people and them discovering something that hasn't seen the sunlight for 26,000 years. It's a fun experience for the entire family.
Think you'd ever like to be a paleontologist when you grow up?
Maybe.
Can you picture yourself doing this for a living?
No.
No?
Not really.
From South Dakota, we traveled to Nebraska and the agate fossil beds.
We're in Nebraska, and we're in western Nebraska, what local people call the panhandle of Nebraska. And we're pretty much right in the center of that panhandle. Well, we're looking at the famous fossil hills of Agate Springs fossil quarries. University Hill is the hill on the left, named after the University of Nebraska that first opened a quarry there in 1905. And Carnegie Hill is on the right, named after Carnegie Museum out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, who had a team there in 1905. Visitors, when they come, hike this trail that goes up to the fossil hills. They can see mammals in two cases, one on University Hill and one on Carnegie Hill, and they can actually see the bones right in the sandstone where they are found.
Our journey continues to Wyoming and the Dinosaur Center, where we witnessed the dig firsthand.
beautifully up here, eh? Don't you find it?
Very nice, very, very mountainous, and you name it, beautiful valleys.
So let us go and have a look and see what is going on here. This looks quite interesting here.
Welcome to the Wyoming Dinosaur Center tour site. My name is Ed Call, and I'm a paleontologist with the Dinosaur Center, and this is Sean Fishbaugh. He's one of our staff members. What we can see here in front of us is a young adult Camarasaur. This individual probably was between 35 and 40 feet long, probably weighed as much as 30 tons, and probably stood about 9.5 feet tall at the shoulder. This particular animal was as big as 5 full-grown African elephants.
So, but how did you discover this? I mean, you didn't just walk here and see this.
Well, not this particular site. We had found other sites along the ridge here, and we were building our road on down to those sites when we found this one.
So there must be many, looking around here, many dinosaurs still in these mountains here.
Oh yeah.
How old would the skeleton be, do you think?
This one, about 150 million years.
So the whole day you go with a little brush, you know, a thin brush, a thick brush, a medium brush, and you brush until something forms like a bone.
Well, if we don't have a bone right there, we'll probably use a hammer and a chisel or a pick and dig in and remove pieces of rock until we expose the bone, and then we'll go in with our little tools, our air tools and brushes, and go around it and expose it completely. And,
so in a couple of years when we come back, maybe here will be a stand, dinosaur burgers.
Well, it depends on how crunchy you like your burgers.
In the quiet serenity and natural beauty of the countryside, it's hard to imagine the millions of years of history that is buried in the rocks below. Well, that's it for this edition of the Travel Magazine. From the beautiful state of Wyoming in the United States, I'm Jake de Boer.
And I'm Mieke de Boer. Bye for now.